Hello and happy, beautiful day. Today I want to talk about relaxing the nervous system and how it can be, of course, beneficial, but how it can also backfire and keep you stuck. And by the way, I see this all of the time. So I want to dive into the details just because, of course, when it comes to self-healing, so many people think, okay, well, let me just relax my nervous system. If I just get my nervous system to relax, my body will heal itself. And that is so common for people to think that way. So they're doing the meditation, the positive thinking, but also just the relaxation, the theta state, the delta state, and whatnot. But think about this for a moment. If all it took was relaxation, then anybody, unfortunately, in hospice, who was in hospice for a bedridden for a long period of time, would then, or anybody who's in a coma would suddenly heal. They wouldn't stay sick. If they're in a coma, they would heal because the body is so relaxed. And so it's not just about a state of relaxation. It takes more than that. It's different than that. And so, of course, basically the thing that you'll want to know is this, is that you'll hear me say all of the time, it takes a real change to heal. And so ultimately what we want to do is, of course, identify the specific issues and shift them. Now, as far as relaxing the nervous system, a lot of the problems that I'll see are this, is I'll see people relaxing and calming the nervous system, relaxing and calming the nervous system and putting in positive emotions. And so often what they're doing is they're also simultaneously losing the feelings of courage, of strength, of confidence, of empowerment, because they're just focused on calming the nervous system. And the thing of it is in healing, it does take a certain level of courage to change. It takes stepping into your strength. It takes a certain level of confidence. It takes a feeling of empowerment. So ultimately what we want to do is, of course, get rid of the negative, but also step fully into the positive, to feel alive, to feel empowered, to feel our strength. That is key. And so often I'll see people, this is what happens, is it's very common for me to see people who have been calming their nervous system, and then trying to program in positive manifesting and positive thinking all day. And really at a deeper level, a lot of times their fear is growing. They have growing fear that they're just getting better and better at suppressing. So it's there. If they look for it, it's there, but it's just suppressed. And so that's not really helping to get the real changes. And, there's so many complexities, of course, with working with the mind. Another thing that can happen is people can also try to suppress emotions, calm emotions, but because they then still feel fear. Another thing that happens is it's common for people to suppress or calm, but then there's like a buildup of fear or upset or whatever it is at a deeper level that then somebody triggers them and they get really upset and they get really reactive. And so that also can be an issue as well. And so the reason that I want to bring this up is because so often people message in or they say, well, I'm calming the nervous system. And they say, how is your video course different? And how are your programs different from calming your nervous system and whatnot? And so I wanted to answer that, not only for that reason, to just provide that answer because I get that question so often, but because I know that it keeps a lot of people stuck because they feel like they're starting to make progress and they're calming. And then because the fear is building up or whatnot, then they get reactive, or they're calming their nervous system, and they're losing their sense of confidence, and they're losing their sense of empowerment, like real empowerment, strength, courage to make a change in their life. And so in some ways, while they're simultaneously feeling more and more spiritual and more aware and more awakened and more mentally empowered, where they feel like, they understand our thoughts help create our lives. And so they're feeling more mentally empowered, but also emotionally not as empowered, not as much in their strength. Or in some cases, people have never felt in their strength. And that would be part of healing as well, is, of course, stepping into the strength, but in a positive way, in the confidence and feeling alive, feeling empowered to live life to its fullest. Because ultimately, healing lives there when we can really identify the negative and get rid of it and step into more and more of the feeling of confidence and happiness and aliveness and courage to live fully, to have this strength, then empowerment, joy in life. Because when you have that, it's like everything, it feels good. And another way to think about it is like this, is, if you think about a 5-year-old who's afraid of everything or who's insecure in life, everything can feel fearful. But if you think about a 5-year-old who feels confident in life and a sense of strength and confidence, then everything can just feel blissful. It's like from that strength and confidence, it's not like we have to walk around and exude strength and confidence, but when we're living from a place of just strength and confidence being the norm, then it's like we can love life and show up at each moment fully and live that moment and feel safe in that moment. And so that's the insight that I want to share with you today, is if you've just been working on just trying to calm your nervous system, I'd invite you to do it in a different way where you're really getting specific with your mind and you're stepping into, of course, getting rid of the negative and not just calming the negative, but we have to go beyond calming the negative. We have to really, really rewire it. So it's not even wired in the subconscious mind anymore. So doing that, and then also making sure to amplify and step into the strength in a beautiful way that feels full of life and feels safe and exudes that and lets you to have the courage the strength to just be. So that's the insight that I want to share with you today. Now, by the way, there's one more thing that I want to point out, is that sometimes people think, okay, courage, and they see fear against that, meaning that if you go, oh, well, somebody's stepping into their courage, it must be fearful. But when courage is just part of you, the courage to just speak up, to just say something, it just becomes a norm. So it's not like, when I say step into courage, it's not like we don't want fear always present. It's just, it becomes the norm to just be you, to just step up to life, to feel like, oh, I could do that. Oh, I can do that. So it just becomes a norm, if you will. So just food for thought. Just creating that real change is key. So just wanting to emphasize that. And of course, by the way, if you are somebody who is new, who would like to understand healing at a deeper level, I do have a free training, and I'll have my team put that in the show notes so you can check that out to get a deeper understanding of how it works. And for anybody else, if you are getting it and you're understanding it, and I invite you to take this and see if you can apply this to your own life. And so that's the insight that I wanted to share with you today. And as always, I ask you, please do take just a quick moment to hit the share button on this episode. Share it with somebody you love, somebody you care about, or somebody you don't even know, because the more that every single person in our world is happy and healthy and loved and loving, the better this world is for all of us. And so please do hit the share button, and please do have an incredible rest of your day. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. We'll see you there.